Can you believe that American Dad is basically the spy version of The Simpsons, but on steroids? You think your family's weird? Wait until you meet Stan Smith and his crazy bunch of misfits. The dude's a CIA agent, but somehow his family is a bigger national security threat than the enemies he's supposed to be protecting the country from. We got extraterrestrials, talking fish, secret agents, and all sorts of messed up situations, all wrapped up in a neat little 22-minute time slot. You cannot make this stuff up, because if you did, you'd probably get locked in a loony bin for being too creative. Stan Smith, the super patriotic idiot. Let's talk about Stan Smith, the so-called alpha male of the family. Can you believe this guy is a CIA agent? The dude's basically a walking patriotism billboard who thinks that every problem can be solved by shooting it in the face. Like, seriously, this guy's so obsessed with America, he probably believes that the Declaration of Independence was signed with a gunshot for dramatic effect. But here's the twist. He's also the least self-aware person on the planet. This guy's a hardcore conservative, always spouting about freedom and liberty. Yet half the time, he's the cause of all the family's problems. The man's patriotism is only rivaled by his complete lack of common sense. Stan's the type of guy who'd try to solve a hostage situation by showing up with a gun and a flag. Doesn't matter if he's in the middle of a daycare or a nuclear war zone. Roger, the alien who's literally living his best life. Now let's talk about Roger. If you thought having an alien in your house would be weird, well, it is, but not for the reasons you think. Roger is the most extra character on the show, and that's saying a lot. The dude's a shape-shifting alien who's literally been living with the Smith family for years, just sipping on margaritas and living his best life. He's like that one relative who shows up at family gatherings, drinks all the booze, and sabotages your relationship with every single one of your friends, but somehow you can't get rid of him. Can you believe this guy takes on different personas just to cause chaos? He's like a mini CIA agent, except his missions usually involve ruining everyone's lives just for fun. Roger's logic? Who needs it when you can just cause drama? Hayley Smith, the activist who's always angry. And then there's Hayley, Stan's daughter, who's basically the exact opposite of everything Stan stands for. If Stan's America first, Hayley's don't mess with my soy latte. She's the activist, always protesting, fighting for causes, and writing that crazy left-wing agenda. Can you believe she still lives at home, even though she's constantly telling her dad to get a clue? She's like the kid who tries to change the world, but somehow Asterisk ends up fighting with her dad over whether or not the country's getting too authoritarian. Hint. It is, but that's a whole other story. Hayley's the voice of reason. If the voice of reason was constantly screeching at her dad about how messed up the world is, while living in his basement, of course. Steve Smith, the kid who's way too obsessed with getting girls. Then we got Steve Smith. Ah yes, Steve, the teenage lady killer, according to himself. This kid is 100% that guy who thinks that wearing a fedora and telling a girl, "I know the secret to life," is gonna get him a date. Can you believe this kid spends all his time obsessing over girls, while his dad is busy trying to solve international crises and his sister is fighting for her personal rights? Asterisk Steve's main goals? To get noticed by girls and get ridiculous with his bad music. Honestly, if this guy was any more awkward, he'd be a meme on the internet by now. The fish, Klaus, the actual, literal fish who's got more personality than Stan. And finally, the most important member of the family, Klaus the fish. The guy's a German Olympic skier trapped in a fish's body. Can you believe that this dude's actually 100% smarter than Stan? He's constantly bickering with Stan, and yet he's the only one who has actual wisdom. He's been in a fish's body for decades, yet he's somehow still more functional than most of the human characters on the show. Klaus is basically the sage of the family, the guy who's got the best advice, even if it's usually laced with sarcasm and passive-aggressive insults. And don't even get me started on his obsession with getting a human body back. That's his thing. Get a body back, go to the beach, go skiing again, live like a real human. But you know, as a fish, the family's biggest problem? They're all completely self-absorbed. American Dad isn't your typical family sitcom. Every single character is self-absorbed, narcissistic, and utterly clueless. And that's why it's hilarious. Stan's a patriot who doesn't get what freedom really means. Asterisk Roger's an alien whose only goal is pure chaos. Hayley thinks the world's going to hell while living at home. Steve is basically trying to get a girlfriend by pretending to be an intellectual. And Klaus is a fish who's got all the wisdom, but no one listens to him. It's like watching a car wreck in slow motion. Only you can't look away because it's so absurdly funny.